Welcome to Pondicherry Maritime Academy. Myself, Captain Movendan. In this video, we are going to see authorization of entry. Who are all authorized to enter into enclosed space and how do they enter? Right? Let's see. No person should open or enter an enclosed space unless authorized by the master or the nominated responsible officer and unless the appropriate safety procedures have been followed. Entry into an enclosed space should be planned and the use of an entry permit system, which may include the use of a checklist, is recommended. An enclosed space entry permit should be issued by the master or the nominated responsible person and completed by the personnels who enter the space prior to entry. What are the general procedures we follow during this entry? Entry doors and hatch leading to the enclosed space should at all times be secured against entry when entry is not required. You are not allowed to enter any of the space which is not required. The door or hatch cover, which is open to provide natural ventilation of any enclosed space, may wrongly be taken to the indication of safe atmosphere, and therefore an attendant may be stationed at the entrance for the use of mechanical barriers such as rope or chain positioned across the opening of the attached warning sign could prevent the accidental entry. Right. The master or the responsible person should determine that this is safe to enter an enclosed space by ensuring that potential hazards have been identified in the assessment and as far as possible isolate or made safe. The space have been thoroughly ventilated by natural or mechanical means to remove any toxic or flammable gases and to ensure an adequate level of oxygen throughout the space. The atmosphere of the space has been tested as appropriate with properly calibrated instruments to ascertain accessible levels of oxygen and accessible level of flammable or toxic vapors. The space have been secured for entry and properly illuminated. Suitable system of communication between all parties for use during the entry has been agreed and tested. An attendant has been instructed to remain at the entrance to the space while it is occupied. The rescue and the resuscitation equipment has been positioned ready for the use at the entrance of the space and rescue arrangements have been agreed. Personals are properly clothed and equipped for entry into the subsequent task. A permit has been issued and authorizing entry. Only trained personals should be assigned to the duties of entering, functioning as attendant or functioning as a member of rescue teams. Ship's crew with rescue and first aid procedures. Training should include as a minimum identification of the hazards likely to be faced during the entry into enclosed space, recognition of the signs of adverse health effect caused by exposure to hazard during entry, and knowledge of personal protective equipments that is required for entry. All equipments in connection with the entry should be in good condition and inspected prior to the use. So now we know what are all the general precautions we take before we enter into any enclosed space. Spaces adjacent to fumigated spaces should be treated as also fumigated. As we discussed earlier, spaces adjacent to an enclosed space should be treated as an enclosed space. Like the gases, atmosphere which is there in this tank, they prevail in the other tanks also. So hereby we conclude, failure to observe simple procedures can lead to persons being unexpectedly overcome when entering enclosed spaces. Observance of the principles and procedures outlined will form a reliable basis for assessing risk in such spaces and for taking necessary precautions. As we discussed, before we enter into any enclosed space, a permit system has to be followed, right? The master or the responsible officer on the behalf of master issues a permit system. Each and every company has to incorporate this work permit system in their SMS and the checklist have to be complied before we enter into any enclosed space. There are parts of checklist. There are 4 to 5 parts of the checklist. The first part is issued by the master or the responsible officer. The second part is issued and checked by the personnel who are entering into any enclosed space. And the third part is the checks to be carried out prior we enter into any enclosed space by the persons who are entering into enclosed space. And the fourth, the entry of the personnel into the space. And the last part is the conclusion part of that is the completion part of the enclosed space entry. For a reference, the enclosed space entry permit is given here. You can take a look at it. This is how we conclude our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, please do leave your comments at the down below. And any doubts, please feel free to ask questions. Please do subscribe to the PMA YouTube channel, and please do share the video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you for watching. Thank you.